Welcome to your daily deep dive. Today, we're going through some reports from MarketWatch, CNBC, Investing.com, Alpha Street, and the Motley Fool UK. It's going to be a pretty wild ride.
Yeah, looks like a lot of the focus today is on the economic picture.
Definitely.
The S&P 500 is, well, it's trying to bounce back, I guess you could say, after it entered correction territory.
Right.
Seems like investors are looking for, I guess, less risky ways to stay in the stock market.
Makes sense. Deutsche Bank, though, they're predicting a further 6% drop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they're pointing to falling consumer and corporate confidence because of all the uncertainty surrounding President Trump's tariff policies.
Yeah, President Trump's advisor, Kevin Hassett, he's saying there's probably going to be more uncertainty coming regarding tariffs.
Right. Yeah.
But Treasury Secretary Bessent, she says the White House is working hard to try and prevent a financial crisis.
We'll see how that goes. MarketWatch is reporting that February retail sales only rose 0.2%. That's less than expected. I guess businesses and consumers are hesitant to spend with all these really rapid policy shifts coming from the White House.
What's the Fed doing about all this?
Well, it seems like they're taking a wait-and-see approach.
Okay.
They're holding interest rates steady this week.
Right.
They want to see the full impact of President Trump's policies before they make any changes.
That makes sense.
But MarketWatch is saying there's a good chance of what they call bad news cuts in the fall.
What does that mean?
So if the economic outlook gets worse, the Fed might have to cut rates.
Okay.
And that would just add another layer of complexity to what's already a pretty complicated situation.
Yeah, no kidding. I know we're talking a lot about uncertainty.
Right.
Well, the housing market, that's not doing so hot either. MarketWatch is reporting that home builders are having to cut prices.
Yeah.
Because buyers are, I guess, they're getting scared off by the high costs.
Yeah, and builder sentiment has fallen to a 7-month low, according to the National Association of Home Builders. So it really does seem like the housing market is, reflecting this bigger economic anxiety that's out there.
Yeah, definitely.
There's also that MarketWatch article about a family.
Oh, yeah. What was that about?
They're having kind of a unique housing dilemma.
Okay.
Their son and daughter-in-law are trying to convince them to sell their home and join them.
Join them where?
At an Earthship community in Oregon.
An Earthship community? What is that?
So Earthships are, well, they're like sustainable off-grid homes. They're built using natural and recycled materials.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting, right? This story really shows the clash between generations.
Yeah.
Like how our living preferences are changing. So it makes you think, what's the future of housing?
Right.
Are we all going to be living in these communal, sustainable housing solutions? Or is this just some kind of, one-off thing?
Yeah, it is interesting to think about.
With all this economic turbulence, are there any bright spots for investors?
Well, analysts at KeyBank, they've identified several stocks that they're saying are undervalued right now. They're trading at pretty steep discounts.
Oh.
So they're saying this is a potential opportunity, for investors who are willing to kind of ride out this current volatility.
So this is like the classic buy low, sell high principle in action.
Exactly. But timing is key, obviously.
Right.
Investors really need to look closely at the long-term prospects of these companies before they jump in.
Yeah, definitely. What else?
Well, top analyst Mike Mayo, he's recommending buying the dip in a certain bank.
Okay.
He thinks that this bank will actually benefit from the tariffs. Unfortunately, the source didn't mention the name of that bank.
Oh.
So a little hard to act on that advice.
Yeah, no kidding. But speaking of advice, what are some strategies for not just surviving, but thriving during a stock market correction?
The Motley Fool UK has got some good tips. They say the most important thing is to take a long-term approach to investing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Don't panic and sell everything when the market drops. Just stay focused on your investment goals.
That's easier said than done, though. Like, how do investors stay disciplined when their portfolio is shrinking?
They suggest looking into passive income opportunities.
Oh, what?
Things like dividend-paying stocks. Those can help cushion the blow during market downturns.
Okay, so they're saying build a portfolio that can withstand market fluctuations.
Exactly.
I like that. What else should investors be watching?
Warren Buffett, his company Berkshire Hathaway, they've upped their stake in 5 Japanese trading houses.
Oh, wow.
They now own almost 10% of each company.
Really?
So it seems like they're pretty confident in these companies' long-term prospects, even with all the market jitters we've been seeing.
Yeah, that's a pretty big vote of confidence from Warren Buffett. What about company-specific news?
Sure.
What else is going on?
So Forever 21, they're closing all their U.S. stores.
Oh, wow. Why is that?
They're blaming the rise of these fast fashion giants, Shane and Temu.
Okay.
These companies, they benefit from this de minimis trade law exemption.
A de minimis exemption.
Yeah, it allows them to import goods of a certain value duty-free.
Yeah.
So they have a big price advantage over traditional retailers like Forever 21.
So Forever 21 couldn't adapt to these changing trends.
Basically, yeah.
And that's what led to their downfall.
Seems that way.
What else?
Guess Inc. stock. That surged 27%.
Really?
Yeah, they got a takeover offer from WHP Global.
Okay.
This could make them the latest fashion brand to go private.
So one fashion retailer's going under, another one's getting bought out.
Yeah, the fashion industry is always changing.
Definitely.
You never know what to expect.
What's going on with streaming?
So Netflix looks like they've won the streaming wars.
Okay, but are they still a good investment?
MoffettNathanson thinks so.
Really?
They've given Netflix a buy rating. They're predicting a 20% stock rise
Oh.
because of their new ad-supported model
Okay.
and because their profit margins are expected to grow.
So Netflix and chill is still a good investment strategy.
Yeah.
All right, what's happening in the fintech world?
Klarna, the buy now, pay later company, they've got a huge new partnership with Walmart.
Really?
Yeah. They snatched it from their rival, Affirm.
Ouch.
So, yeah, that's going to hurt. This rivalry is probably going to get even more intense, especially as Klarna gets ready for their IPO.
Speaking of big acquisitions, PepsiCo just bought the prebiotic soda brand Poppi.
Yeah, for almost $2 billion.
Wow, so they're really betting on healthier beverages.
It seems like it. Poppi markets itself as this gut-healthy alternative to regular soda.
Right.
And PepsiCo clearly thinks this trend is here to stay.
Makes sense. People are definitely looking for healthier options these days.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's zoom out a little bit.
Okay.
Look at the global and political landscape.
What's going on in the world of geopolitics?
Well, the U.S. has launched new airstrikes against Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Okay.
This has caused oil prices to spike.
Because?
There's concerns about potential supply disruptions in the region.
So geopolitical tensions are still a major factor when it comes to energy prices.
Definitely. Back here at home, the Trump administration is facing some serious challenges,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to the economy.
Right. What's going on?
A new NBC News poll shows that voters are really starting to doubt the administration's handling of the economy, especially when it comes to job losses.
Okay.
So CNBC is reporting that the administration's trying to change the focus
How so?
by highlighting their use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport people.
Even though a judge temporarily blocked its use.
Yeah, it's a controversial move,
It's going to cause a lot of debate.
for sure.
It seems like the administration is really struggling to maintain public confidence, especially with all the economic concerns.
Definitely.
What about internationally? Anything interesting happening there?
A group of European companies, including Airbus,
Okay.
they're calling for greater tech autonomy.
Interesting.
They're even proposing a sovereign fund to encourage people to buy European.
This push for European self-reliance in the tech sector, that could have huge implications for global trade and innovation.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like we're seeing a trend towards regionalization,
Yeah.
which could have both economic and political consequences.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground in this first segment, from market volatility to corporate shakeups to the global political landscape.
Woo, that is a lot.
We'll be back soon to unpack even more news and analyze what it all means for you.
Okay, sounds good.
Welcome back to your Daily News Deep Dive. We've already uncovered quite a bit about what's happening in the world, economically and politically. But let's keep going with our exploration of today's news, maybe delve deeper into some specific companies and sectors making headlines.
Okay, that buy European thing we talked about earlier, that seemed like a pretty big deal. Anything else going on in the tech world?
CNBC reported that Beijing Hoyang is building a massive data center in Thailand, like a $2.2 billion data center.
Wow.
It just shows the growing demand for data storage and processing power in Asia. And it really puts Thailand on the map as a rising tech hub in the region.
Interesting. And AI, artificial intelligence, we all know that's a big deal right now. Is there anything new happening there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. So Seeking Alpha reported that Cisco just launched some, new AI-powered WebEx solutions to kind of revolutionize video conferencing and collaboration.
Makes sense. Everyone's working remotely these days.
Exactly. And it's not just Cisco. AlphaStreet highlighted the successful early adoption of DocuSign's AI-driven intelligent agreement management platform.
So that's basically using AI to streamline contract management, right?
Exactly. It just shows you how AI can change, well, even the most traditional business processes.
And is DocuSign doing well with this new platform?
They are. They're reporting a surge in billings and margin gains. So yeah, their AI strategy is definitely paying off.
Speaking of financial gains, investing.com gave some insight into recent insider trading.
Oh, right. Like who's buying what?
Yeah, so for example, Horizon Kinetics made stock purchases worth, let me see, $12,733 in Texas Pacific Land Corp.
Interesting. That might seem small compared to some of these other deals we've been talking about,
Sure.
but it suggests that some investors see potential in Texas Pacific Land Corp, and it makes you wonder why they're making those moves.
Exactly.
Investing.com also mentioned that Safran, they offered some remedies to try and secure EU approval for their acquisition of Collins Aerospace.
Yeah, mergers and acquisitions, they often run into regulatory hurdles.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if Safran's concessions are enough to satisfy the EU regulators.
For sure.
Moving on, Investing.com, well, they reported on a really tragic event, a nightclub fire in North Macedonia. It killed 59 people. This horrible incident, it sparked outrage and calls for justice. It really makes you think about how important building safety regulations are.
And that those regulations are enforced.
Absolutely.
Moving on to something a little closer to home, maybe. What about personal finance?
Right. Well, the Motley Fool UK had a bunch of articles on different investment strategies for individuals.
Okay.
They gave advice on, how to handle a stock market correction, how to not just survive it, but maybe even thrive during one.
By staying focused on your long-term financial goals.
Exactly. And they highlighted the benefits of passive income opportunities.
Like those dividend-paying stocks we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly. They provide a little buffer during those market downturns. One article even suggested that a stock market crash could actually boost investors' passive income by over 40%.
Really? That seems counterintuitive. How does a market decline lead to higher passive income?
Well, when stock prices drop, dividend yields go up,
Okay.
which makes those dividend payments even more attractive.
Makes sense. So basically, a market downturn can create opportunities for income-focused investors.
Exactly.
Interesting.
The Motley Fool UK also talked about something called ISA accounts.
Okay, what are those?
Those are tax-advantaged savings and investment accounts that are available to UK residents. They're saying that a lot of people are missing out on the benefits of these accounts.
That's good to know. So their advice is basically explore all your financial options. Make sure you're taking advantage of any tax breaks you can get.
Exactly. So let's move on to some specific stocks that caught our eye.
Okay, which companies are we looking at?
The Motley Fool UK had an interesting article on Greggs, the UK bakery chain.
I love their sausage rolls.
Yeah, they're pretty popular. Their shares have had a rough year, though.
Yeah.
But their current lower price and their higher dividend yield, that might make them a good buy for value investors.
But it's always do your research.
Exactly. Make sure Greggs fits your investment strategy. They also highlighted the Phoenix share price. It jumped 7.5% after some positive full-year results. But even with that price jump, the dividend yield is still an attractive 9.4%.
Wow, that's pretty substantial. Definitely worth looking into.
For sure. And how about Barclays? Their share price has been climbing steadily.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
It seems like investors are confident in the bank's direction.
So the Motley Fool UK is saying this rising share price shows that investors are optimistic about Barclays. They think the bank will improve its performance and deliver strong returns for shareholders.
That's their take on it, yeah. Another potential stock to add to your watch list.
Definitely. Okay, let's switch gears for a second. What about cryptocurrency?
Right, well, Investing.com reported that Bitcoin stayed pretty stable at 83.2K, even with all the anticipation around the Fed's interest rate decision.
So even Bitcoin is feeling the uncertainty around the Fed's next move.
It seems that way.
The whole market's just kind of holding its breath.
Yeah, waiting to see what happens.
What else is happening in the crypto world?
Investing.com also talked about how NVIDIA's upcoming GPU technology conference could impact optical stocks. They're suggesting that NVIDIA's announcements could hurt companies like Marvell.
It's fascinating how these technological advancements can create winners and losers in the stock market
Yeah, it is. It's really important to stay up to date on industry trends.
and how they might affect your investments.
Exactly. Okay, before we wrap up this part, let's just zoom out again.
Good.
Look at the broader economic picture. We've talked about market volatility, interest rates, the housing market. What's the big takeaway here?
What's the story?
I think we're in a period of transition.
Okay.
The global economy is facing a lot of challenges.
Like what?
Geopolitical tensions, supply chain disruptions, rapid technological change. It's a lot to handle.
It is. So basically, governments and businesses are trying to navigate this complex and often unpredictable landscape. They're trying to adapt and make smart decisions, even though there's a lot of uncertainty.
Exactly. And these are challenging times, but there are also opportunities.
Right.
The choices we make today, they'll have a big impact on what tomorrow looks like.
So the decisions and actions of governments, businesses, and individuals, they'll shape the economic and technological landscape for years to come.
They will. We'll be back soon to finish up our deep dive into today's news. We'll explore some emerging trends and offer some final thoughts. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've covered a ton of ground today, from those market swings to corporate, power plays, and even some of that AI intrigue. As we wrap up this deep dive into the news, what are the big trends we should be keeping an eye on? What are the key takeaways from all this?
Well, remember that CNBC article about the CEO of Google DeepMind? He was predicting human-level AI within the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, we've been focused on all these headlines today, but these bigger technological shifts, they're happening in the background all the time.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and kind of forget about the bigger picture.
Totally. And these AI advancements, they have the potential to change everything. How we work, how society functions, even our understanding of, what it means to be human.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it, and a little scary, too. We also saw a lot of examples of government intervention today, like that Buy European initiative and some of the things the Trump administration's been doing.
Yeah, those interventions, whether they're trying to help domestic industries or address some perceived threat, they can have a huge impact on the global economy.
Governments have to walk a fine line, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They need to protect their own interests, but they also need to avoid, intervening too much, because that could stifle innovation and lead to, unintended consequences.
Definitely. Another thing that kept coming up today was the importance of adaptability.
Totally.
Like Forever 21, they're struggling because they couldn't adapt to the rise of e-commerce.
Right. But it's not just about businesses adapting.
It's about everyone.
Yeah, whether you're an investor trying to navigate a volatile market or you're an individual who's, dealing with a changing job market, being able to adapt and learn new skills it's essential.
Absolutely. The people who can embrace change, who can keep learning, they're the ones who are going to thrive.
I think so too. And, as you're reading the news each day, it's important to remember that these aren't just isolated events.
They're all connected.
Exactly. It's all part of this big, complex world we live in.
So if we can understand those connections and anticipate future trends, we can make better decisions, both in our personal lives and professionally.
Absolutely. Stay curious, stay engaged, and keep exploring. That's what the deep dive is all about.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the daily news. Until next time, stay informed and stay curious.